We're going to talk about drafting today. And it's another episode of Fantasy Roto Hackers podcast. My name is Judah Buddha. I'm here with AJ Herschel, the kid. This is the original crew. We started this 4 years ago.
That's crazy to think that it's 4 Oh my goodness, that's crazy to think about that.
Luckily, we had AJ Herschel. We had Jared.
Oh yeah,
it's Jared, the fantasy stud, join us, but he's on assignment today. He will be out. He might join us later. But what I wanted to do today, AJ Herschel, first of all, was there any important news? I did see that Ronald Jones is out. Oh, we got to hit the news thing.
Oh, yeah.
News in the NFL today.
So the news is that Ronald Jones is out with an injury. The news is everybody is injured.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone is injured. And I kind of just stopped looking at the news because it's like, I don't know how much of these injuries matter. Because if they really matter, then it's kind of like it makes fantasy feel real. The one that does matter is Bears running back David Montgomery going down. It looks like he has, it's not a severe injury, but like a 2 to 4 week injury.
Yeah,
will definitely keep him out. What was it?
Groin strain, I think it was.
It was a groin strain.
But
it seems like the interesting thing is that there's so many strains, but there's just different levels of them, because Lamar Jackson had a groin strain, but he's back in practice. So it's like, I feel like we hear a lot of these things. So I want to get right in to just kind of do a little primer on, because I had a couple friends ask me, like, what should I do as far as drafting? What are some good hints? So if we could just do like a 10-minute, and I was thinking, what better way than use the mock draft simulator by Fantasy Pros.
All right.
And so let's go to that. But wait a minute. How are you doing? Do you have any drafts going on?
Nope. Oh, sorry. No, I don't have any going on right now. I've got a couple. I've got two tomorrow. I'm drafting with you in both of them, actually. I'm drafting for someone in one of them. So I've got 2 tomorrow, and then I have at least 1 next week. So I'm kind of going down to the wire here. It's still funny because the only one I've actually truly I've drafted 2 leagues so far, which is less than I did last year, but that's probably a good thing because last year I had some weird leagues. We had a 6-player league last year. I don't even know if you remember that, but that was crazy. So I've got a couple more this week.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're in a lot more leagues than you've ever been in, right?
Last year I was in like 8, I think. This year it got cut down to, what is it? Like 4. Because one of them people completely dropped out. One of them we only had 6 people, so we cut that one out. And then there's 2 others that'll probably get cut out too. So I'm actually going lower than usual for me at this point. So probably minimum of 4 right now, maybe 1 or 2 more. So I don't know. I mean, I got an email because I follow Manchester United that I should play Premier League fantasy for soccer, which I have no idea how it works, but I don't know. Maybe I do that.
That sounds horrendous to me, but maybe you do that. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is what I want to do. So let's see. I want to put two of these, and that should be kind of like an average draft for us, right?
Yeah.
Although I wish we could take off kicker, but we'll just do that. Actually, yeah. Let's just do that. Okay. So we're just going to go through this really fast.
You actually
These.
can't you take off
What?
kicker here? It won't let you.
Oh yeah, I guess I can. I'm just gonna leave it though.
All right.
No. It'll make it. You're right. It'll make it if we just do 0 kick. Okay, that'll make it a lot faster.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. I just want. Oh, but before we do that, because this is actually a draft. Let's go ahead and
It's draft time. It's draft time.
I love that. Okay,
You're gonna be humming that the rest of the show now.
I know. It gets in my head. So, for those of you that are drafting tomorrow or today, and you would like to get a little bit of insight from the Roto Hackers, we're going to do just a little primer, go through our thoughts, but because we've done this before, but like long form, you have to watch like an hour of it. I just want to do a short little thing so that people can, because nobody's going to watch an hour long to figure out the draft. So if we could just keep it to about 20 minutes from this point,
all right,
I think that would be great. Thomas H says Kenny G.
Hey,
what?
There we go. Kenny Galladay gets
Galladay
intro.
Yeah, I think people are sleeping on Kenny G. Okay,
really?
So, oh yeah.
I think people.
710 is with us today.
Hey, there he is.
What did you say, bud? I
don't know Galladay. I like him a lot. I didn't know people were sleeping on him that much.
Well, we'll get into it. Okay, so let's start the draft.
All right. How many teams is this?
A matter of like where he's going. So this is a 12-team league, kind of a typical league. We don't need to take a tour. We are drafting second.
Oh, fun.
So who went first was obviously we know that what's his name?
C-Mac.
First, yeah. Now the question is who to keep, and I mean who to draft here, and I would just say, he's just go with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Or actually, I go with Ezekiel Elliott. I'll tell you,
really?
I think Ezekiel Elliott is just a safer, better schedule.
Interesting.
Higher octane offense.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that may be a safer pick.
Interesting.
All right. Then second round comes around, and here's what they suggest. And I think this is, what did I do? Okay.
You just made it bigger, yeah.
Suggest another player. Okay, so let's get a big tier here. So folks, if you are drafting and your second round comes around, here is typically what you'll have for your choice. I'm going to probably, since I went with a heavy running back, I'm going to go with either Kenny Galladay. I'm probably not going to go with a running back here.
Yeah, same. At this point,
let's look at let's just look at the running backs. Like James Conner, I like, but there's a lot of question marks. Jonathan Taylor, just no.
Too much for risk. Yeah.
Now
this is one of those ones where, since you're drafting late second round because you got early first round, you're gonna come back in 2 picks. So then you kind of just see who the guy before you take.
So we get 2 picks. Yeah. We got another pick coming up real quick. I think I would go with James Conner. I think
really.
Yeah, because of all that's available to me here, I think he's just. Chris Carson is a good pick too. It's just that I think James Conner is going to be in a much more. The Steelers just stick with him. I don't want to do too much analysis. I just want to kind of show people the tiers and show them who would you go with? You go Chris Carson.
At this point, if I was going for a running back, I'd probably go Carson, but I would most likely go Galladay here because we just talked about it for half a second. Yeah. And at this point, since it's a 12-team league, I'd like to get a number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, I would go George Kittle. But let's go Galladay. I think he's going to be on the board for a lot of people here. The only question is, I think he might fall further.
Really?
I don't know. Probably not.
I feel like in every draft, there's just going to be one person who's super high on Galladay. So he's just going to be, right. There's always going to be the one person. You're
right. I love having Galladay there. Okay. So then we see that Kittle went next. Mike Evans was a choice. I think that would be a. Now, I would go Patrick Mahomes here because I am just high on getting a top a top. If you can't get a top quarterback, getting a top QB, but I think it's just safer for people out there that are just don't know anything about drafting, just want a little primer.
Yeah.
Let's just look at what is the safe route. I think going Chris Carson.
Same.
This is a little insight. Chris Carson is going to be used a lot. Now he may get replaced. He's injury prone in some ways, because he's just he gets used a lot. But I would just go Chris Carson here for just a safe route. Either that, or if you want to go, if you feel good about later RBs, Chris, I think Chris Carson's just good here.
Yeah, I agree because, I mean, especially we've talked about it so many times that the running back position it dies at a certain point. Like after round 4, it almost completely drops off. And so especially in a bigger league, like a 12-team league here, you're going to want that extra running back because otherwise you'll be starting Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
Also, really fast, 710 said he wants to trade for Chubb in our league. You think we can try to come up with high potential scenarios later? Eckler
Sure,
our guy.
Yeah, after we get past this, let's see. So there is so much good news coming out about DJ Chark.
I know.
Courtland Sutton, I think, is a great pick here, of course, but it's only the 3rd round, right?
Yeah.
No, we're in the 4th round. Are we in the 4th round?
This is
4th
bottom
round.
of the 4th. Yeah.
This is where Courtland Sutton will typically go, but I think he'll drop. For me, he's been dropping further.
Yeah, same.
I think getting one of these second-year guys. Now let's get more. But this, folks, if you need help with drafting, these are the guys that you're going to be looking at in this round. So, kind of. Just so you're not going in blind. If you're at the 4th round, you're going to be looking at some of these guys. DK Metcalf. If you want to do research on somebody, do research on Metcalf. Do research on McLaurin. On DJ Chark. Don't take Dak Prescott here. Wait on QB. I think Dak will fall a little further.
Really?
I would take him in the 5th or 6th round, but 4th round, I need to grab one of these high-powered wide receivers, or let's look at what we got for running back.
See what I said about running backs dying at some point?
It really drops off. So now that we have, so that's another thing to think about, guys. If you're using this as a primer at all, if you've gotten this link from me, that running back drops off really fast. Either take a bunch of them at the beginning, take 2 or 3 in the first 4 rounds. I would say 3 in the first 4 rounds. Or if you don't do that, be ready to take a ton of them in the later rounds, and we'll show you what that means.
So also, I'm 710 he had some of these guys here last year. Wasn't too impressed with them.
What, some of these guys right here?
Yeah. What do you think?
I think I was super impressed with both of these top 2 guys. Courtland Sutton, I had him last year on a lot of places, and I think he was just solid. And I think he's going to do better this year. He's going to have a better quarterback this year, for one thing.
It's funny because I was like the guy, especially a couple weeks when weeks ago, we were talking about just starting drafting. I was the guy super high on Sutton, and I kept seeing tons of stuff. It's just like, nope, he's going to fall. He's got this with his offense. He's going to play a whole year. I like Sutton.
Yeah, I went with Sutton. Because look what happened. Look who fell to us. Like we took Sutton, and we can take Chark or McLaurin. Yep. I think we take Chark here.
This is going to be a heavy wide receiver team here, probably.
Yeah.
Just looking at it real quick. Yep.
And I think that's good because a lot of people are going heavy running back early because of what you said. It just drops off.
Yeah.
So if we go heavy wide receiver, I think we can kind of zig where other people. This is what I'm doing this year is I'm trying to zig where other people zag. Would you want to go Dak Prescott, or let's see what we have running back wise?
Well,
we could go Swift. I would not mind going Swift or tight end. Nothing.
I'd wait. Yeah. How are we looking on wide receiver after like these first 3 or 4? Who else falls down there?
Let's look. We've got Devontae Parker. I mean, that's a big question mark. Hilton. Oof. I don't think he's gonna be playing in the NFL this year.
Wow.
It falls off. It falls off right here.
Yeah.
We're in the what, 4th round?
5th round, I think.
Fifth round.
Top of the fifth.
Yeah, sorry. I was looking. So we're at the top of the fifth. I say I'm gonna go Dak.
Really?
No, I'm gonna go DJ Chark.
Okay, I would too. See, that's the interesting thing. I get nervous sometimes when I see a good quarterback up there, like Deshaun in round 7 or 8, Dak in round
that's
5.
what I'm gonna wait on.
Yeah,
Deshaun is who I'm gonna target.
Nice.
Right, so
I get worried, especially I get like nervous when I see a bunch of quarterbacks because I'm like, I know that if you miss out on one, there's still good ones later. There's still Ryan, Stafford, Breeze. You might want to take a second quarterback just in case with them, but there's definitely guys you can get later.
This might be where we need to take Deshaun. We're in the 6th, 7th round right here.
And he's available right there.
Bottom of the 6th. That means he's available. I wouldn't mind taking Deshaun here. I'm not crazy about. I think these guys are going to fall. I would either take J.K. Dobbins. I feel like J.K. Dobbins is going to be huge, especially for people's second half of the year. He's going to be better, but I'm super high on him. But these are the guys. These are the tiers, folks. Like watch this just to kind of get familiar with when in the bottom of the 6th round. Here's going to be sort of your choices. Or if you had keepers, this is going to be more later. This is going to be who you're going to have later on. Earlier. I'm sorry. This will be more like this will look like your 5th round. Glad you're around to keep me straight. That's good. Yeah. So this will be like 5th, 4th. If you have a lot of keepers or a big team. So it doesn't look great. Yeah. But we still have a lot of great quarterbacks. Do you like Deshaun or Matt Ryan?
See, I like Matt Ryan a lot just because he's always eerily consistent. Deshaun has the running element, but being that he's in Houston, it scares me. But I mean, the guy puts up results, but it's going to be rough now because he doesn't have Hopkins to fall back on.
I don't think that matters.
I really think it does because Will Fuller's a guy who gets injured all the time. Like I've had him before. He's a nightmare in fantasy. But Deshaun is a great skill player. And out of these 4, Ryan is consistent. Allen can be up or down. And Russell Wilson, we've talked about it, tapers off by the end of the year. So out of these guys, he's got the highest ceiling out of all of these guys.
Yeah, I feel like Deshaun, this could be his year too. He's got, like you said, a high ceiling. I don't think his floor is that low because he keeps it pretty high with running himself. Unless he gets injured, which he could, as he's a running quarterback,
especially behind the Houston's river-like offensive line, just allows anything to come through.
Yeah. What do we have? We already have plenty of wide receivers. I definitely don't Will Fuller. Maybe Brandon Cooks would be, I think, a solid pick. Marvin Jones, solid pick here. Actually, if I could get. Let me see who else is here. Now, I do not want Deontay Johnson, though. He's a good pick later on. Christian Kirk, I think, is a solid pick here.
Really?
I think that the Arizona is going to be coming on. At least, we've had our differences about that. I think the more and more I look at it, they are going to be at least a high-powered offense. I don't think they're going to be. I don't know. I'm back and forth. You think they're going to be pretty high-powered this year?
I think they're going to be high-power. I mean, you just look at their roster. You've got Kenyon, you've got Murray, you've got DeAndre, you've got Christian Kirk. But the thing that worries me about Arizona, guess what? You have to go play Seattle twice. Guess what? You have to play the second best defense in San Francisco twice. Guess what? You got to play Aaron Donald twice. And I like them as a team, but I feel like this is a team that's built to win. And it's like to score a lot of points now, but to actually start winning in 3 years.
Right. Okay, well, it's been about 20 minutes since we started. We got about 10 minutes to go as far as from that point. What happened here?
I have no idea. I think we're
all right. So we took Watson.
Yep.
I think our next pick. This is where it gets crucial, and we need to. If you're watching the primer, I think it's important to know. I'm having problems with the. Okay, it's important to know some of these later guys. I think it's time to start stacking up on running backs. What do you say?
Yep, I agree.
So we are in the 7th round, top of the 7th. We don't get another pick for a long time because We had these two.
Yeah.
You know, we're at the
Let's
bottom.
look at our roster real quick too. Let's just go ahead and check back in
Okay.
on how our team's looking.
Where do I click for that? Let's see.
Rosters. Yep.
So we've got Deshaun Watson, Ezekiel Elliott. I think we're solid as far as wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to start collecting running backs here.
Yep,
this
we
is
do.
the time.
Yeah,
and they're not super wonderful, but we got Tariq Cohen, he's gonna. I like Philip Lindsay, but
yeah,
James
I think we can
White's
get
gonna be
Lindsay
solid.
later. James White, I've had him for like 3 years, man.
James White or J.K. Dobbins for me.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
For me, I mean, Kareem seems like the obvious choice here because with Cleveland and everything, but you've brought up they've got a new, offensive coordinator, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, looking at the others too, Cohen and Lindsay, you could take, as much as I like Lindsay, you could take him later. Jordan Howard is a question mark because we don't know how much Breida is going to eat away from him. And I love James White's consistency.
Yeah. And he's going to have Cam passing to him. I think he'll do fine. Curious who the tight end is going to be there because Cam loves his tight end.
That's very true.
We're talking about the Patriots. Okay, so as we're collecting running backs, we got a good stable right here.
Yep.
I got to go J.K. Dobbins. I think he's fallen.
Yeah, I know he's your guy.
Up. He's my guy. I think J.K. Dobbins. Oh, Zach Moss is still on the board. I got to go Zach Moss.
Really?
I don't know.
Back-to-back rookies?
Yeah, that's the problem. So we are in
round 9.
I love picking up a starting running back, Marlon Mack here. These are some of my favorite guys to pick up. Zach Moss, though, I just think for as far as talent situation, I think he could really be valuable. These are the guys you're going to see in rounds. I would say 7 through 9.
Yeah, depending on your
Some
league.
of these guys are gonna fall though. I feel like Marlon Mack may fall. Zach Moss may fall. His ADP is actually pretty. Who would you go with here? Do you want to look at tight end?
Let's look at tight ends. Yeah, I might be looking at. There's no Mark Andrews anymore, which stinks.
Hayden Hurst.
I know you're high on Hayden Hurst though.
I'm high. I think all these guys, except for I'm back and forth on Jared Cook. This is the round that I love. Hawkinson, we could get him later. Gesicki, we could get him later. I love Hayden Hurst. He's going to be on a high-powered Falcons offense that loves to throw to their tight end, and he is better physically. He is more of a beast, faster than Hooper was last year, and Hooper did really well in that offense.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Hayden Hurst because
Smart.
I would suggest somebody go with Hayden Hurst here.
Jonathan Buster over here. I think you know him. Jonathan Buster says, "Where is Jared?" Crying emoji. I'm out.
He's a big Jared fan.
Also, Thomas H mentions that I take James White every year, which coming from the amount of times I've said I've taken James White, that's definitely true.
Okay. Well, you're hearing it from us. James White's a guy to take. I like Boston Scott. I like Adrian Peterson. I love Alexander.
I know you love Madison.
I like Antonio Gibson too. So can I tell you that since last week, I have seen so many more Harris. What's his name? Damian Harris.
Really?
Yeah, Damian. Oh man, there's been so much news about Damian Harris getting all the first round reps.
Interesting.
But we can get him later. I just want to just say these names so that you'll know these names. Antonio Gibson is going to be involved. He's a skilled, versatile player. He is a rookie, but he's going to be involved in the Washington offense. Now, his buddy, his coworker and co-teammate Adrian Peterson is going to be starting and getting most of the reps. Could this be the year of the old man running backs? Because I want to talk about Gore later. But Adrian Peterson still has gas in the tank. I think these two are going to carry the offense as far as running backs go. I think we can get them later. I don't think I think Alexander Madison comes off the board fast. So
really,
because people know he's involved in the offense, even when he's the backup for Cook. What's his name? Delvin Cook. Yeah, for Minnesota. I'm going to take him here. Alexander Madison. It's, he's
not going to start. He's not going to start. Let's make that clear.
Not going to start, but at this point, we're in the 10th and 11th rounds. We're not looking for starters, although we could get Adrian Peterson, who is a starter. I think Damian Harris is going to be a starter. There's a lot of great running backs here that I think can fill out your bench. I think Damian Harris is going to fall further. Let's see what we got. Rager is going to start as far as would you go Rager here?
See, I know Jared's super high on Rager, and I mean, looking at our running backs, we've stacked up with Zeke, Carson, Dobbins, Madison, and White. So two bona fide starters, one flex, and two backups right now. I think this is a time to take another wide receiver. Yeah,
let's go Rager.
Team here.
Let's just look though what we have as far as our opportunities. I like Perriman. I like Coleman.
I like Mecole. Yeah.
I love Mecole. Mecole hard, man. What do you think? Do you like Mecole Hardman more than Rager?
I like Mecole because he's in Kansas City. He's a little boomer bust. And I know we've talked about, I know Jared especially talked about him as a lot, that Philadelphia just has no one to throw to outside of
for second time. What do you think? I'm going to leave it to you.
Let's go with this. I like, at this point with the depth we have on our team, we could go, I think we could go Rager and maybe even come back and take Mecole.
Rager is going to be what's that?
There's a good amount of rookie wide receivers here.
Yeah. So we're taking a rookie wide receiver. He's on Philadelphia. Rager. Look for his. You know him from Lord of the Rings. No, what is he? No, it's Game of Thrones. Rager. He sounds like he has one of those like fantasy names. Sci-fi fantasy books. Rager. He actually is that is the name in Game of Thrones. All right, so.
Oh my goodness, the guy right before us took Mecole. Right before us.
We still got some no, we don't have great choices. We lost all our great choices.
See, and this is why you take running backs early, because here you've got a backup running back in Seattle, which, I mean, Hyde could be a better late pickup. Jamal Williams, who's a third string at this point.
These are all
Giovanni Bernard, who's not playing, and Darrington Evans, who only two people have really heard of. Like, out of these, it's Hyde, but for me,
I don't know. I like Chris Thompson. I think he's going to be really involved. He's back with his old coach. What's his name? He's the offensive coordinator there now. He was the coordinator he was the head coach of Washington.
Oh, interesting.
Fired. What's his name?
I cannot think of it right now. Doug Marrone. Doug Marrone?
No. Doug
no. He's still there.
Gruden. Jay Gruden.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Gruden, he went out and specifically wanted Jacksonville to get his guy Chris Thompson, and he's using him a lot in the passing game. I really believe.
Interesting, and especially if Fournette goes down too.
Oh,
he's injury prone.
Of all these guys, I like Chris Thompson the best. I like Anthony McFarland for just a dart throw.
Yeah, McFarland worries me though, because you're already having Juju and Deontay ahead of him. Big Ben's going to have to like him if McFarland's going to be out there.
No, he's a running back.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
So
yeah, I don't know. I know you're high on Benny Snell though, right?
I don't know. I'm back and forth. I like, actually, I'm going to go McFarland here just to help people. If this is his primer, somebody's looking at McFarland.
Interesting.
This is the rookie backup. He's about third string at this point, but I think he's just a really talented player. Where did he come from? Do you remember?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Does it say here?
I don't think so.
All right.
He went to Maryland. Okay.
Maryland, which is interesting.
He must have been the one bright spot in there.
He was
2-10 Big Ten team. I don't know. Also, 710 says Peterson's going to be rolling back time. Washington should name themselves the Washington Petersons.
All right, let's just for time's sake go with Anthony McFarland. Just see what our
I'd probably go Hyde here, but okay.
Yeah, I just can't bring myself to go Hyde. Well, we can go Hyde here. Let's just go Hyde here.
Okay, this is going to put us a little bit weak at wide receiver, but we're going to have incredible running back depth.
Well, our next pick is going to be wide receiver. I actually, now that I saw who came after us, taking Hawkinson would have been the play.
So how have you been going with backup tight ends, backup quarterbacks? Do you typically draft, and what do you normally do in that situation?
Yeah, I really think it's important during times of COVID, to have a backup. We could go Tannehill here.
I like Tannehill a lot. Does well in in good matchups and good defensive matchups.
Is this our last pick? This
is our last pick. Yep.
I like Paris Campbell. I love Deshaun Watson. I think he's.
Jackson.
I love Pittman too. Pittman is going to be the starting X for Indiana. He's
over T.Y. Hilton.
Over T.Y. T.Y. is broken down old man, dude. I just don't see him being a big factor in their offense. He may be. I may be way off on this. It's just a feeling I have. So it's not. These aren't based on facts. These are based on feelings.
Where's the quote that we've been? Where's the quote we've been using for like 3 weeks at this point?
Judah doesn't go on facts as much as he goes on feelings. But I just feel like Pittman is going to be a huge part of their offense. So is Paris Campbell. These two guys are going to be leading the offense as far as their wide receivers go. But Deshaun Watson is going to be, if he can stay healthy this year, which he hasn't been able to most years.
Yeah.
But I mean, he normally, without all his injury history, he would have gone a long time ago. And his potential is to be a top 20 wide receiver.
Yeah.
So you can get him here with your last pick, or would you just bolstering your quarterback crew or your tight end crew is going to be important during COVID, because you can only use one quarterback at a time, and if he goes down, if you only have one quarterback, you're going to have to rely on whatever's on the waiver wire. Now these guys may be on the waiver wire, but other people are going to have to do it too. I don't think the waiver wire is going to look this good.
Yeah, it's for me. What I'll do is I'll typically take one backup player, whether it's a quarterback, tight end, one of those two, and then I'll kind of rotate them out on a day that I'll try to stagger my bye week sometimes, so my quarterback and tight end don't have a bye on the same day, on the same week. So in this case, I'd get a quarterback here or a tight end, and then swap them out with a quarterback by the time my bye week comes in.
I think that's good. Do you want to do that?
I would go either quarterback.
All right, so who do you want to go
here? I would go Tannehill. I would go Tannehill or Jack Doyle here.
Let's go Tannehill. Jack Doyle?
Or Jack Doyle, one of them. Yep.
Let's get a piece of that. Do we have anybody on Indiana? Because I really think Indiana is going to be.
I don't think so.
Let's get a piece of Indiana offense. Jack Doyle. Yes, that's going to be a great offense. Okay. So that we got an A-. Not bad.
Wow. Nice.
Chris Carson, Kenny Golladay, Cortland Sutton, Hayden Hurst, DJ Chark, James White, J.K. Dobbins, Alexander Madison. So I like I feel like we have just a solid team, solid bench, that if you're a first-time player, you'll be good to go. And what you want to be looking for is J.K. Dobbins breaking out. You want to be looking for what happens to Chris Carson. One thing we didn't do, I forgot, is we probably should have gotten a handcuff for Chris Carson.
Well, we got Hyde. That's why I wanted to get Hyde.
Okay, excellent. I'm glad you were on top of it. Okay, so because Chris Carson he plays hard and dirty, and he gets down and dirty, and he gets hurt because of it. And so we got Hyde. I'd prefer to get DJ but that's fine. DJ Dallas is the rookie that's going to be behind both of those guys.
Interesting.
Hyde to me is, more like Jekyll. I don't know what that means.
See, the thing with Hyde though is because he's got name recognition though, so he's been in the league for a while. He'll probably be able to pick up the playbook easier. And I mean, that's in the case of the guy you're talking about, DJ Dallas, I mean, I know Rashad Penny. I don't even know if he's on what's happening with him, but he still exists. With
Penny is going to be out. No, he's on the PUP list.
I thought he was okay.
Yeah, he's going to be out. He's going to be on IR. Like with the short IR, he's going to miss the first 6 weeks of the season.
Gotcha. I should mention with this team, this is a little bit top heavy because we got our starting lineup's good, but Dobbins right now is second string. Madison is second string. Both of them are going to either rely on injuries or beating out their starter. McFarland's second string. Hyde is second string. So all of our running backs, don't be expecting them to start every single week. They're not every down backs. They're in case picks. And then Rager is one of those guys that would be able to come out and
I think he'll start like
a surprise.
He'll be great to start. Jack Doyle, if you need to, I kind of feel like Hayden Hurst and Jack Doyle are the same character.
That's a nice 1-2 punch.
Yeah, like you can, and the thing is about your flex is you can put in a tight end or wide receiver
in certain leagues.
In most leagues these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Jack Doyle, you can put him in there instead of James White. In fact, I might put Rager in there instead of James White.
Really?
In your flex.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's going to start week 1, they said.
Yeah. If there's any weakness on this team, where do you think it is?
It's like you said, there's nobody you can just put in your other than Rager, there's nobody you can switch out and put in your flex. From DJ Chark below, it's kind of like actually I would put J.K. Dobbins in the flex too.
Really? Even though we don't know he's starting.
He's not starting. He's not.
Right.
But he's going to come in enough and do enough damage early on. I think he would be worth putting in. A lot of analysts have him projected to get about 12 fantasy points a game. So that's enough for a flex for me. I mean, most flex don't get above single digits,
Yeah.
So that's just something to think about. Hope that helps for people. Just to give you some names. Go through some names and be familiar with some of the lower. I just know that a lot of people that are first time are not really into fantasy football. By the time you get to those lower range, you have no idea. You don't know these names. You don't know Rager. You don't know J.K. Dobbins. Sounds like he's from Harry Potter or something. Game of Thrones and Harry Potter. J.K. Dobbins and who is the guy?
Anthony McFarland? Is that the guy? No.
Who is Dobby? Remember from?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Harry Potter. That's why I think of Harry Potter with Dobbins. Okay. Well, do we have anything else in the chat?
Yes, we do. 710. He says Jay Gruden needs Chris Thompson so they can lose plenty of games by being terrible on third down. Jacksonville's just going to get tons of garbage time points. That's it.
They are. They have a terrible defense and a pretty high-powered offense.
Yeah.
And not high-powered so when I say high-powered, I mean lots of plays. They're going to be doing a lot on offense. So someone like, and I don't use the term right because I said that Indiana's a high-powered offense, but what I meant by them is they're just a powerful offense.
Okay.
They also have a really good defense. So I don't, they're not going to be running a lot of offensive plays. I don't think. Well, if you have a really good defense, some coaches like to slow it down. But sometimes if you have a super defense, you're just always on offense.
Yeah, true. It was interesting though. Oh, sorry.
So other than CEH, which rookie running back? Okay, wait, you were going to say something before we go to
I was going to say one thing since we were talking about Jacksonville so much. As much as Jared likes to look at fantasy playoffs, week 15 and 16 are Baltimore and Chicago.
For who?
for Jacksonville. That means Chark's going to have to play Baltimore and Chicago come week 15 and 16. And I mean, Baltimore, I mean, they could already be up 5 games on Pittsburgh in their division, so they may not need to play as hard. But Chicago's probably going to be fighting for a wild card spot at that point. I mean, this was one of those teams like Pittsburgh that made it to 8-8 with a defense. And so if they're any better, they're going to be fighting with Green Bay and Minnesota, and eventually down the line, it's going to be need to win games. But so they're not going to let Jacksonville off easy.
Since we talked about, remember when we had that big argument, and I said I didn't think that the Bears are going to be in top 10.
Yes, I remember that.
They were top 10 last year, but they definitely were. Since then, it hasn't looked much better for them. They've lost a couple more players.
I mean, we did lose a couple guys. The biggest one was Eddie Goldman opting out. That was the biggest problem. And that's Eddie going Goldman? To – that's good. What'd you say?
Yeah, keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Eddie Goldman going out was definitely the part that hurt the most. Also, we're probably going to have rookie Jalen Johnson starting at cornerback, which isn't going to help. So I do think we got worse probably over the year. But we still have Akeem Hicks, Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith. We got Robert Quinn. You've got arguably the best safety and cornerback duo in Eddie Jackson and Kyle Fuller. We may not be as good as we used to be, especially back in 2018, where we were just, best defense in the league. But it's still not a defense that you can just push over. These guys got a lot of stars on their roster.
Okay. I just think it's like old man city. Hello?
Okay.
No, I mean, it's like a bunch of old men, right?
Not really. And then this isn't like 2012. You've got 30-year-old Brian Urlacher and 40-year-old Lance Briggs. Like Khalil Mack's only 29. Most of the guys they got there are mid-20s.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Okay, well, I'm looking for okay, so we want to look at today, unless you have anything else you want to talk about as far as drafting or news.
Not that much. I know we just missed Thomas H's comment right here if we want to get to that right
Okay, yeah, we got to go back to that comment. So
yep. Other than CEH, which rookie running back do you think would be most likely to win Rookie of the Year?
I'm going with the Harry Potter, J.K. Dobbins.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
I don't think people know how skilled he is as a running back. Like he was highly touted before, he got put. Everybody sees. Speaking of old men, of course, it's so amazing. You see these guys; they're so much younger than me. I'm an old man. Those guys are not old. But for NFL, what's his name?
Mark Ingram II.
Mark Ingram has seen a lot of hard years, man. I loved him in his breakout year. I had him almost everywhere.
Yeah.
And then I just loved having him on my team from that because he's just such a hard worker and a great guy.
Yeah.
But I've also seen him get hurt almost every year. Last year was actually pretty it wasn't too bad though.
Yeah, he was good. He was fine last year. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's a year older this year. More carries.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you say like he gets injured a lot. Most of the times it was kind of nice being that he wouldn't necessarily miss just like 30 games at a time. There were a couple of years where he just like skipped out on half the season because of injuries. But whenever he got in a full season, he'd be decent. He's had 12 touchdown, 10 touchdown, 9 touchdown years. It's just they don't come every year.
I love him. I just think that J.K. Dobbins is better. He's better and he's younger. And that team is going to use their running backs quite a bit.
Interesting.
And I don't see any of the other backups even close to giving him any kind of run for his money.
Yeah.
How about you? What do you think?
For me, it would probably either Swift or Taylor. They are just in better situations and got a better path to number one. Taylor's got to beat out Mac, which isn't going to be easy. But Swift's got to beat out Carry-On, which is a guy we talk about can't stay healthy. Carry-On cannot stay healthy. As much as he annoyed me coming out of college, because Georgia had to play him every year, and man, he's injury prone dating back to when it dates back to college. That's when I get worried. This is the Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook path, but Carry-On just stays out half the year. And I know a lot of people last year, especially like, oh, let's get Carry-On. He's coming back off injury. He had a good time at the end of last year. Boom, gets injured less than 8 weeks into the season. So I think Swift and Taylor definitely have an easier path to Rookie of the Year, especially with Taylor's offensive line and experienced quarterback and Phillip Rivers too.
That is true. That is true. I agree. It's just Mac and what's his name?
Carry-On?
No, Mac and
Nyheim Hines.
Yeah, pass catching back there.
Nyheim Hines.
Nyheim, yeah.
Nyheim
Hines. Both of them are going to be involved. Nyheim Hines maybe more than Taylor in the sense that he just fits in as that Danny Woodhead type player, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Your little James White.
Yeah.
Like a James White clone.
Yeah.
Now, but I say Danny Woodhead because that's who played with Rivers.
Yeah.
Rivers would dump off to. I'm trying to think. He had other. Who's the one who's there now? Who's in L.A. Chargers? Eckler. He's like an Eckler. No.
Yeah. I would say yeah. To me, like the tiers of pass catching running backs would probably be Eckler because he's just a decent runner too. He's kind of just an all around player. So for me, it'd probably be Eckler. Yeah, exactly. It'd probably be Eckler, White, and then Danny Woodhead and Darren Sproles when they were at their best.
Sproles.
I loved Darren Sproles in his prime. And then right under them is probably Nyheim Hines. So he needs to climb that ladder and be more effective in the Colts offense for me. But I don't think he's a bad handcuff, I don't think especially in later rounds.
I think he's going to give Sproles a run for his money.
Interesting.
Okay, for those of you who don't know,
wait a minute.
He's not in the league anymore, neither is Danny Woodhead.
I was about to say.
Historically, for those that don't, maybe everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you think it's going to be pick one, Swift or Taylor?
I'll go Swift. Georgia fan. I'll go Swift.
If you weren't on the Lions, I think that's the only thing that them is this like magical thinking that the Lions cannot have a running back, you know?
Yeah.
There's actually no scientific reason why he can't do well on the Lions.
But it's
more
Detroit.
Just magical.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever been able to do except for what's his name? Barry Sanders.
Yep. Also, it's funny when we were talking about Hyde. 710 said he's going to get 800 yards and no touchdowns, just like and rarely score, just like last year.
Can I ask what's going on with these old men? Like, Hyde, he's not as old, but Hyde,
he's not that old, yeah.
Well, no, but
he's 29.
You're right. He's pretty young. But these backups, okay, well, I want to talk particularly about the old men like AP and Gore, because Gore is getting so much press right now. Talking about
my goodness.
He's had the best results on the team so far. What do you make of all that? Because Gore could possibly be a nice little, like, nobody's picking him. He's on the waiver wire.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because
he's the backup for Bell.
Yeah, it's funny because I can't remember last year when he was taking away carries from Devin Singletary, and we were all joking about how Frank Gore is like the Iron Man of the NFL, and he became third top 3 in rushing yards in history. Someone texted me and said the day Frank Gore retires is the day the NFL dies. The man still works. Adam Gase said he's going to play until he's 60. Oh my man, Frank Gore is it'd be a really nice pickup. He wasn't the most effective running back, but if he starts getting either A, Le'Veon gets injured, or B, Gore starts getting goal line carries by the time we get to midseason, that would be absolutely incredible, man. Frank Gore's the best. Gore's the best.
I saw somebody in the comments on SleeperBot said, I can't wait for the year where Frank Gore is taking passes or taking handoffs from his son.
I know, yeah.
Can you imagine? I don't know if this actually
yeah.
the league, but
oh my goodness, yeah.
I'd like to look up and see if he has any, like a son or something this play.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Jared and I went over the depth charts for the AFC. I don't know if you saw any of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just good for people to be knowing, to be familiarizing themselves with these names.
Mm-hmm.
We have already seen so many injuries. That's not going to let up.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are going to get COVID. People are going to get injuries. It's just not going to let up. And if it does, okay. If it lets up and people, this is the best year for non-injuries. Okay. So what? It's not going to hurt to have all these names in the back of your head, So we did the AFC last year. Last week.
Yeah.
Let's go with the NFC and start with. All right. So, should I share? Do we need to? Yeah, let's share it so people can see a visual of. We didn't share it last time, and I kind of wish we had. So here is depth chart. Now we're looking at running backs in particular for the NFC. We're starting with. Go ahead and if I zoom in, does it zoom in for you?
It should. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so we're looking at. Oh wait, we need to go up a little. How much can we zoom in? Okay, so the NFC East, we're looking at Cowboys first. We got Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, a guy named Rico Dowdle. Do you know who Rico Dowdle is?
I do not.
And Darius Anderson, that kind of sounds a little bit more familiar. But I mean, the name to know is Tony Pollard.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Easily. Yep.
He came in last year and did a lot of damage. Now, some may say that's just because their offensive line last year, their offensive line this year is not going to be as stellar. But I do think that if Ezekiel Elliott goes down, the next man up, it's not going to be. I don't think Rico Dowdle is going to be stealing touches from Tony Pollard. We don't have to spend much time on that. Just know the name Tony Pollard. Probably one of the best pure handcuffs as far as knowing if Ezekiel Elliott goes down, Tony Pollard is going to get a lot of balls thrown into his stomach.
Yep.
That sounded weird, but
moving on.
Okay, so for New York, we have Giants. We got Barkley, and then it gets a little fuzzy.
Deion Lewis showed up.
I forgot that they picked him up.
Yeah.
We got Wayne Gallman,
he's the one who came in last year, right? When Saquon went down, but then he got injured, I think it was, wasn't it?
And he did fantastic. Wayne Gallman got, for fantasy players, got 2 touchdowns and 6 yards. For whoever picked him up when Saquon Barkley went down. But I think it's going to be much more of a committee between Deion Lewis and Gallman. I mean, they're kind of the same player. Do you know Tavion Feaster? Or
I do not. Nope, I do not know these guys.
I've never even heard. Or what's this guy's name? Sandro Plaxgummer?
Nope.
Excuse me? All right, but just at least look at these names.
What Sandro Platzgummer?
What are these names?
Oh my goodness. There we go. I finally looked him up. Oh, okay.
What?
I think he's from an indoor league, it looks like. I can't tell. I don't know.
Okay. It's fascinating.
Oh,
Maybe
he's from the Austrian Football League.
get out.
I'm dead serious.
How do I get rid of this?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, so this is the danger of what's going on here? I don't want this. Gosh. Let's see. So, let's see if I can exit that.
There we go. I think
Okay.
yep.
So, let's move on. But know those names. I think it's important. And for me, I'm writing this down. I'm writing down. Where are we? I'm writing down Sandro Plaxgummer.
Yeah.
Javon Leak. I think it's interesting because if they come up, if Barkley gets hurt, that's gonna be you're gonna win your league if Tavion, look up Tavion Feaster. Might be important. Okay, but let's move on because they're not going to be that important. The thing to know is if Barkley goes down, you're going to have to pick up probably Dion. Who would you pick up? I'd pick up Dion.
Oh, I would probably go Dion. Yeah.
Yeah, pick up Dion. Gallman might be a good, put a little $5 bid on, if you got Fab. Okay, now here is something that's really interesting and important. Is if we move on to the Birds, Philadelphia Eagles. Sanders is already hurt. He's dealing with a little, I think it's, hammy or something. It's not that important. I think he'll be fine. But I think he's going to play week 1. But the thing to look at, Boston Scott has been a favorite of mine since he was on. I think it was New Orleans. He's just got a fantastic sense of the scheme. He just picks up things, his vision. He's not elite, he's a backup, but if Sanders goes down, I think Boston Scott could be now they're going to play. When I say I don't mean he's going to win your league by any stretch. Well, I mean he could in the sense that you will have a solid running back to put in, I think
he could be good. Yeah.
Solid. You could expect 60 yards and a touchdown, I think, which is
that's not bad, especially behind an aging but still efficient offensive line.
Yeah, they're not doing that great this year, but it's still offensive line.
Yeah.
Other names to look at just to kind of be familiar with: Michael Warren, Adrian Killens. And these are just dart throws, right? Don't go at these guys, but just to know them. Elijah Holyfield.
Yes, University of Georgia. I actually know him.
Is he good?
He was one of the 4 running backs we had in our running back stable, but he was pretty good. He was efficient, to say the least, at UGA. I don't know. He didn't play a lot because I think this was still during the then Sony to Chubb to Swift era. So he never really got starting hours, but he was efficient while he was there. And apparently he's got some pretty good burst of speed in the Philadelphia training camp. So could be a guy to look out for.
All right.
Not to pick up in your draft, but
no. Put a little star on him though. I'm going to go through in my leagues and put just a, watch list type guy. Elijah Holyfield. Interesting. Okay, well, next we got a really and Corey Clement.
He's I have some interest. He's been with the team for 4 years now, I think. I think this is his 4th season, so he knows the team. He knows the offense. His efficiency's kind of gone down year per year with less snaps. And I mean, the Eagles re-signed him. They re-signed him to a 1-year deal, so he could be interesting to look out for.
Okay. I'm more interested in Boston Scott, and so I want to go with either the dart throw, the what do they call it, the lottery ticket, and Elijah Holyfield. Not that I would, of course, pick him up or anything, but just keeping him in my mind. Or Boston Scott, you do. I think Boston Scott, try to get him probably in the 10th round. I forget where he showed up for us. I think it was about actually
like 12th. I thought it was. I don't know. I can't remember. I'd have to look back at it.
All right. So,
interesting. Thomas H. asks us a question about running backs. He said, "Are you surprised Devonta Freeman hasn't landed on a roster yet? Is he headed to the Bears?" Well, it would make sense. I mean, especially if Montgomery's injury is worse than we're thinking, maybe. And I mean, we have Ryan Nall. I mean, he's never really impressed that much. And I mean, I know Cordell Patterson's going to be playing running back, but he's not by any means a power back. I could see him in Chicago. That'd be interesting to say the least. It does shock me a little bit that no one's picked him up, though. Because as soon as Falcons let him go, it was like, okay, where could he go? He was like the running back on the free agent market, and then it was just dead silence.
It just doesn't shock. It doesn't shock me because he's such a small guy, and he may still have gas in the tank, but he got really banged up over the years. And I know last year, Jared picked him up and played him against me in the finals, and he had huge touchdowns against me. So I'm not going to rule him out as far as having gas in the tank, but he is not. He didn't do anything all last year.
Yeah,
and he's just not. It's not exciting for any NFL team. They'd rather take a chance on, I think we'll get to the Bears, but Cordell Patterson, somebody we need to talk about.
Oh boy. He could be. He could be. Could be. See, the thing about the Bears offense is that I'm hearing a lot of stuff about them being gimmicky again because, hey, guess what? That's what made our offense good in 2018. And Cordero at running back, we're thinking putting like Eddie Jackson at wide receiver for some plays. Oh, my God.
Let's
the Bears offense. Oh, man.
Let's talk about the Bears then, because I think Cordell Patterson, I think people should pick him up and put him on your bench right now. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Montgomery's down. Tariq is a pass catching, like we've been talking about, James White type. Smaller and less efficient, I would say, than some of these other guys like Nyheim Hines. I'd rather have Nyheim Hines than Tariq. But Cordell Patterson, I've always watched him. Super, super fast guy. And last year he was used as a running back with the Patriots?
It was Chicago last year, I think. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure he was.
Well, the last time he was with the Patriots.
No. Wait, yeah, it was Chicago last year, New England the year before. He was with New England for 1 year.
I saw him used on the and I saw Belichick use him as just a straight up between the tackles running back, and he did surprisingly well because he's always been a wide receiver, and he's always been a super fast wide receiver. He caught my attention. And so now that I hear that basically Chicago is going to be using him as a running back, and you get to put a running back in your wide receiver slot on Yahoo, he is designated as a wide receiver. So you can put him in your wide receiver slot. I think if he starts, could be a game changer. Could win people their leagues.
That's interesting, man.
They may go out and get Freeman.
I don't know. Thomas H is asking, I don't know which one he's asking us, but he's asking, so you're bitter, I think, about the Bears offense. Is that what you're saying? No, I'm not bitter about the Bears offense and us being not efficient last year. We have issues.
I'm bitter. I'm sad.
Well, thank you for being sad for me. Yeah, with the Bears offense, though, especially with running backs, it's like Tariq Cohen had a really good year, one really good year. He had 1 year. He took 1 year to basically learn the offense. He had 1 year of over 1,000 all-purpose yards, 8 touchdowns. And then last year, which I know a lot of people said, oh, Tariq was just a one-hit wonder after the first year, right? Because last year he didn't do great. I think that was just a result of our entire offense being garbage and our offensive line being one of the worst in the league, and Allen Robinson somehow being a 1,000-yard receiver. Oh, Thomas H, by the way, was saying Judah Boot is bitter because Devontae scored on him last year.
Oh, yeah, Bitterberry.
He says, don't hold a grudge, JB.
Judah Buddha?
Yes.
I am quite bitter, and but bitter in a way that, like, I know that he can hurt people, so I know he has something, and that's why I said I don't want to rule him out, as far as having gas in the tank, because I saw it last year. But okay, so back to the Bears. What do you what?
Sorry.
Hello.
There you go.
What are you thinking as far as some of these? Yeah, you mentioned Nall. Who the heck is Ryan Nall?
Ryan Nall, running back out of Oregon State. He's kind of like our second David Montgomery, let's say. He's hung on to the team. He hasn't played a ton on our offense. He got like a couple carries, I think, last year, but I don't know. It could be interesting because Cohen and Cordero are kind of comparable in the sense that they're hybrid running back wide receivers. Nall is closer to Montgomery in the sense that he's a pure straight up running back. So it could be interesting if he comes out with something, but I don't know. He might start week 1, especially if Montgomery isn't back yet. He might be the power back week 1.
I think Cordell's going to be the power back.
Okay.
Now Montgomery, it looks like he went from like in my book to he's going to be such a good value because he doesn't. I don't know. Actually, that now that I'm thinking of it, I just don't think he goes away. Right? Like he gets hurt, he's out for a little while, and then he comes back.
Montgomery's really nice, and it would be kind of nice. He's a good player, and it'd be cool to see him on another team because as much as I love him in Chicago, but our offensive line is like a sieve last year. We were not good. And so I wonder how successful he could be if he was behind someone like the Colts offensive line. I think we're talking about a 1,400-yard rusher. I mean, the guy rushed for 700 yards last year. I like him a lot. At the spot he's going, it's decent.
Running back?
No, I'm saying the Colts have a good offensive line. If David Montgomery was in Indianapolis, he'd be a 1,400-yard rusher.
I don't know.
He got 700 behind an offensive line last year that would let.
If there was no other players there or something?
Yeah, if he was the starting running back, like the number 1 in Indianapolis, he's a 1,400-yard rusher. He got 700 behind a bad Chicago offensive line.
All right. Well, it's interesting to think about, but all right. So he's with Chicago. I think he can come back and do some damage if he falls like the 10th or 11th round, which he may. I might be swiping him up.
Yeah,
he may. I think he may go to the waiver wire in a lot of teams.
What?
And really? Not, of course, but don't you think that people are going to? They were already sort of disgusted with him. He gets hurt. He's got that. If he's out, if he has that big O next to him, I'm going to see if I can grab him and put him on my IR spot. But
interesting.
That's kind of magical thinking as well. But okay, let's go on to the Lions. We've got Kerryon Johnson. I don't think he's ever in his life played a full year.
Maybe his first year.
I don't even think his first year. We got DeAndre Swift, who comes into the league just highly touted as one of the top running backs from college. And he's looking great. He's catching passes. He's doing awesome. He's a little banged up, though, from what I hear.
Yeah, I think he's been dealing with the lower back issue the entire preseason, I think.
So that's not great. Of all the people to get hurt, it's not Kerryon. It was Swift. And Bo Scarborough, he's just a guy, coming in.
I disagree with this one, actually. He came in last year when Carry-On got injured and had 2 games where I think he rushed for a combined 170 and a touchdown. So, and I was excited about him when he started at Alabama. He's kind of set out for the last 2.5 years, but that I think is a name to watch though, because this is a guy who's actually seen NFL action. It doesn't make it easier now that Swift is ahead of him, but that could be interesting. It's interesting. He's interesting.
Okay, Bo Scarborough. Put a little star on him. If Swift, it's very possible that Swift and Johnson go down. And I'm talking about Carry-On because we also have Ty Johnson, who came in because last year Carry-On, they both went down, and Ty went down. I forgot who they brought in. Jonathan Williams is there. He's always been a favorite.
That's interesting. I know, yes.
Jonathan Williams, he's never done anything, but I would put a star in him and think about if everybody goes down in the Lions team. I'm going to be looking at you, Jonathan Williams. Okay. Next we have my Packers, my beautiful, beautiful Green Bay Packers. But not a beautiful scene as far as their running back core. Like,
really?
Like a mess. Seems like a mess to me. I've always had a special place in my heart for Jamal Williams. We talked about him way back 3 years ago in the Fantasy Podcast and our Road Hackers podcast. And, Dylan looks like a strong dude. I don't know.
I don't know why you're so low. Why am I higher, the Bears fan, on the Packers backfield than you are?
I've just had to deal with them. I've had them on my team, and Aaron Jones, even though he could get you, like 2 touchdowns and 100 yards and three or 4 catches all in one night. The next night he may have 0 because they bring in AJ Dillon on the goal line. Williams is, Jamal Williams is pass catcher, and he's cut down to like 13 touches.
Wow. That is my worry because I've said it before. Jones and Dillon are completely different, where Dillon will run you over and Jones is going to run past you. So it's interesting to see what kind of 1-2 punch they make, if they make, in the offense. Williams is kind of on that Nyheim Hines wide receiving running back that we keep talking about. I'd put Cohen there too now that we're talking about that. It's just really... Dylan just put a huge question mark on the whole situation. Well,
and on top of that, they went out and they've got a huge stable of guys with Dexter Williams. Who's this DeMarque Crockett?
I don't know.
DeMarie Crockett. I've never heard of him. But they just have I feel like they might be really wanting to run the ball this year, which on one hand says, okay, Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, and Jamal Williams, like, let's go. But on the other hand, it's going to take somebody getting injured to really be interested in any of these, like Dillon or Williams, because I feel like if Aaron Jones gets injured, it's going to be a huge committee.
Yeah, that is probably the worry. But I think I believe the Packers are going to be a run first team. That is my belief. The way that they free agency, the way they drafted, everything. Which I completely get Rodgers' frustration over the Packers never drafting a skill position player in the first round. Guess what? They used their second round pick on AJ Dillon. Yeah, I think there could be a scenario where maybe Jones isn't as effective as last year and maybe isn't as great for where he's going right now, but he still could be consistent with Dillon. Like, think that 1 year Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman were working well together. Think the year Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram both were 1,000-yard players. That could happen.
I agree. It's just we just need to keep an eye on it, and that's why we're talking about these guys. Just be familiar with these names. Jamal Williams, I think most people are. But someone like Dexter Williams, I don't know these guys, but be familiar with them. If you hear something about Aaron Jones going down, Jamal Williams going down with an injury, okay, you know these names. Demarie Crockett. That like it's amazing, AJ. Sometimes I would just look at a name on a depth chart and be like, "Oh, that's interesting." You know, he's got an interesting name, and later on he will become a star. You know, in fantasy, the way it works, people get injured in the NFL, and so being familiar with names is really important. And so sometimes when they have a interesting name like Demarie Crockett, it's good to kind of let that ring a little bit. Okay, let's go on to Minnesota. A much simpler, cleaner situation here. Dalvin Cook, Madison, Boone, those are the guys that are going to be in there. Dalvin Cook is the go-to guy. He's gotten injured every year.
Yeah, dating back to college.
I don't draft based on injury, but when I look at who to pick up on the waiver wire, injury obviously becomes a major component. So when you're looking at Dalvin Cook, you want to have one of these guys. That's why we drafted him earlier. Is Madison is going to be involved, and he's involved even with a few touches, gets touchdowns, gets yards. He is I don't want to use the word high powered or the phrase high powered. I've been using it too much, but he is an effective, skilled player, and so is Michael Boone.
Yeah, he just kind of came out of nowhere last year, and then just started playing time.
I talked about him last year. I said that Boone was better than Madison. On the podcast, I was asking Jared if he had heard of him. He was like, "No, I haven't heard of him." Because I had the fantasy football guys were talking about Boone, how much they liked him better than Madison. I thought, wow, that's interesting. But he never really got to shine until he did terrible for whoever picked him up in the fantasy play playoffs. But after fantasy was done, week 17, I think he had a huge game. Any desire, any interest in Tony Brooks James or Amir Abdullah? Amir Abdullah
was interesting in Detroit, but now he's playing fourth string, and that kind of just that's kind of it for me.
Yeah. All right. So just know these names. Be ready to pick up Boone. You should already have Madison. He's going to be on. He's locked and loaded for a lot of teams. All right, including ours. In this that we drafted earlier, it wasn't written. Okay, so this is interesting to me. Let's go over to the NFC South, where we're going to be talking about Thomas H's favorite team, the Falcons. Todd Gurley, not your picture of health.
Yeah.
And though he's not an old man, and I think the rumors of the demise of his knees are greatly exaggerated. However, we're talking about the NFL where you're getting hit by 300-pound dudes, getting piled on by several 300-pound dudes. I don't think he is. So Ezekiel Elliott is somebody who I feel like is like durable. Todd Gurley, not so much. He's got some Achilles heels in his knee, if that makes sense.
Okay.
He has documented problems with arthritis in his knees. So it didn't seem to hinder him too much last year. And
yeah, they kind of played it safe with him last year. I mean, he only had 800 yards, but he had 12 touchdowns off of all that.
He's good. He is skilled. He is, when it comes to skill, elite. Mwah. It's just poor guy does not have the knees to go along with it. Now, that I think may not matter. and we gotta be. I love having Todd Gurley on my team.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it is interesting to look at Judge Ito Smith is there, Kawandre Olison, and Brian Hill. Now, so the news so far, I'll tell you how it's breaking. I've been very interested in how it's breaking down because I have a lot of Todd Gurley. Brian Hill is the backup. He's the established backup. I saw him play last year. Not impressed. Kawandre Olison, do you know anything about him?
I think he came in a couple times last year, but not much. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, I was just looking it up. Yeah, he's the guy that stole 4 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, he really looked great last year, and all the buzz has been about him. All of it. How he was the best in training camp, how, whatever they had for training camp, how he's picking up the scheme so well this year, how he's great on pass blocking. I just think that Kawandre Olison is the guy to be looking at. He looks better when the eye test, when you look at tape, when you look at who really helped out for fantasy last year. Brian Hill, boring. Kawandre Olison, so whatever.
By the way, Thomas H said, "Can you zoom in more on your screen?" By the way,
yeah, sorry. I didn't want to get any more of those ads.
Yeah. So
we're talking about Kawandre Olison. Sorry. I'm an idiot. Do you know anything about Craig Reynolds? Ito Smith hasn't done much ever.
Well, that's not true. He kind of gets like 100 yards every year.
Okay.
It's weird.
Well, I didn't say he doesn't get anything, but 100 yards is. Do you have any interest in Kawandre Olison?
Oh. I mean, I think there's a little bit of interest, being that he's still a guy who, if Gurley goes down, could come out and maybe do something. The Falcons' run game last year was so weird with Devonta Freeman in and out. It's almost like I don't know how to judge all of them. I mean, Freeman played 14 games and only got 600 yards off all that. So I don't know. Falcons.
I mean, that's decent.
Yeah, I mean, it helped that he got 400 yards receiving. So I mean, that's a 1,000-yard player, but
yeah,
it's still interesting.
I do like how they use their. So I think that Gurley could just go off because they use their running backs in space. They put them out there in space. They use them in the scheme for for passing downs and early in the downs too. Yep. They'll do fun things with their running backs. And man, it doesn't get much funner than Todd Gurley when he's at his best physically.
Yeah.
Okay, so another interesting one is interesting. I don't know if that's the right word, but Christian McCaffrey is the number 1 running back in the world, and behind him is Mike Davis and Reggie Bonifant. I picked up Reggie Bonifant just hoping to have that, like, if McCaffrey goes down, Bonifant's going to be highly. But Trenton Cannon is another guy. I guess they are sort of. What does that mean with New York Jets? In other words, he's on the practicing squad of the Jets.
No. I think that just means that's who he was with before them.
Okay, because I thought he still was on the Jets, but all right. All right, so I mean, talk about a guy he scored some touchdowns in his life. I would keep an eye on Trenton Cannon. If Christian McCaffrey goes down, Mike, I have no desire to pick up. I'll tell you this: Reggie Bonifant can go Bonifant. I want Mike Davis or Trenton Cannon. I think Mike Davis is somebody who's got, he used to be with he was with your Chicago, but he was also with for a while back and forth on Seattle and did some damage there.
Yeah, Mike Davis is definitely the most experienced out of those three. Reggie's got probably the coolest name. I mean, yeah,
like a, I don't know.
He got 100 yards and a touchdown. I don't know. Reggie Bon, it sounds like something you get at Cinnabon or something. Like they're special. This is the Bonifon or roll or whatever. I don't know, man.
Flute or something, a trombone or something to me.
I don't know. It's McCaffrey and I guess Reggie. I mean, he was technically number 2. He got 100 yards last year. So if McCaffrey were to go down, it would be Reggie.
I don't think it would be for long. I think Mike Davis would come in and steal a lot of work. But I do want to say I think this is the year that McCaffrey goes down.
Really?
If you're playing odds, they keep going up higher, and it seems like this is the year of the injury. So if it is the year of the injury, this is the year that McCaffrey disappoints everybody. He's a skilled, elite player. I'm not taking anything away from him. But this is a strange year, guys, and I'm not putting any hope in McCaffrey.
Wow.
There's just you're gonna buy him at the all-time high. Whereas last year he was the top, way above everybody.
Yeah.
You're not getting any kind of discount. You're not getting all you're getting is the possibility of injury.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, you could end up getting a 1,000-yard rusher, 800-yard receiver with 20 touchdowns. So
absolutely, you could get the best. Did I say wide receiver? The best running back again. It's just not worth it to me. I'm taking. I'm not taking him with my first pick.
Wow.
I'm not taking him.
Interesting.
Alvin Kamara, I might take with my first pick. I could not be higher on Alvin Kamara.
I did not see that coming.
I think that he was injured most of the year last year. I think they're going to go to him a lot in space. I think he's going to have 10 touchdowns and 1,500 yards.
Wow.
2,000 all-purpose yards. Yeah. I think he's going to kill it. Now, if he goes down, why don't you take over and talk about Latavius Murray?
Latavius Murray is the best handcuff in the league. He's
agree.
Experienced. He gets every time he comes in, he gets 100 yards a game.
And he always gets a touchdown.
Yeah, always. I remember originally when he got picked up by New Orleans, I was hoping they would go back to the 1-2 that they'd had with Ingram and Kamara, but just put Murray in that role. That didn't really happen. He's more of we need a quick 10 yards. I'll put him in if he's starting, gets an occasional touchdown. But if Kamara goes down, there is no one in the league, in my opinion, with better value as a handcuff than Latavius Murray.
I couldn't agree more. I love Latavius. Laxatives Murray, as some people have come to call him.
Not just you.
No, but I think he would be a game changer. He would be a league winner if Alvin Kamara gets injured, major injury, and is down for the rest of the season. Latavius Murray is going to win your league. Did I hear something? No. Okay. Oh, you're going in and out. You okay?
Yeah, it's all right. I just lagged out for a second.
Gotcha. Okay. Any interest in Ty and Ty Montgomery?
Minor. He's kind of on that same Nyheim Hines role for me, but
much less. I thought he was the next because he started off as a wide receiver for my Packers.
Yeah,
and he was pretty cool, but he never did anything after that. Never.
Yeah, especially because in this situation you have to beat out 2 starting running backs basically.
Yeah.
So
Good guys, yeah. And Dwayne Washington, is he? I didn't realize he was on.
Yeah.
Is this old?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know about that. Okay. Let's move on. Another offense to keep an eye on. This could be the offense of offenses. Our friend Ryan's favorite team.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend, we've gotten to know Ryan. I feel like he's a good friend. I don't know who he is. He's a watcher, a viewer of our podcast. He loves the Buccaneers, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could be a very important. These could be very important names to know. Ronald Jones may be out for Week 1. He was just. Let me see. What did it say? He had some kind of. I don't know. Practice. He left with a foot injury, some kind of foot injury. So, just keep track of that. Everybody's injured these days, though. Do you want to walk us through? I have to actually run real quick. I drank too much Mountain Dew. I gotta go. But do you want to take us through?
Sure.
Some of that.
All right, sounds good.
I'll be right back.
Okay. And yeah, 7-10, that's what I was saying to Judah Buddha. McCaffrey's, you're going to get 30 points a game with him. Tampa, man. So Tampa, Ronald Jones is out. So for now, I mean, he'll probably be back, week 2? He's just banged up. It's not that serious of an injury. But Keyshawn Vaughn, especially early in drafting, was one of my late round gems because he's a big guy. He's strong. He's a goal line threat. And I was excited about him because I was like, Jones gets him there and he's the passing back. Vaughn punches it in. Awesome. Then they went and got Shady. Then they got LaShawn McCoy. And I don't know what to think anymore. Tampa is a backfield that I take as a backup. I think I have Shady in our listeners league, maybe, as I think I took him with my last pick, just because he's interesting. And then, I mean, even the 4-string, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher his name, but Dare Ogunbowale, he got 200 yards last year receiving. He's more of a special teams guy, but he can catch. And he ball hawked 2 touchdowns running the ball. I don't know what to think at all with Tampa's running back situation. I typically try to take like one of them, especially later rounds. Shady, you can get round 15. Rojo, he's higher, but maybe he'll drop within the week because of his injury. Keyshawn Vaughn, you can get him late, if not round 15. Judah Buddha is talking about guys you need to know. Those 3 especially, those are going to be the most confusing. And Dare, I'm sorry, I'm messing up your name, man. But Dare Ogun, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, man, he could mess everything up with this situation too. And Judah Buddha is back, so we'll go ahead and get his take on this as well. But I have no idea what to think about Tampa's running game. Judah Buddha.
Oh. Okay, so you don't have any idea what to
wrapping up talking about Tampa and how I have no idea what to think because all these guys, I don't know who's starting and who's going where. What do you think?
Should we just stay away?
I typically try to take Shady like late, like 15, because like at that point, who knows anyway. Yeah. And then it used to be Vaughn, but now I don't even know. And then I remember Dare got 300 yards receiving last year. So
yeah, Ogunbowale, Dare Ogunbowale. I always mess it up. Ogunbowale. He is a skilled dude. It's just it's gonna be a mess. Yeah. I say stay away from all of them.
Yeah, and Thomas H says, so in other words, nothing has changed in Tampa.
We may be making a mistake. if you want to take somebody, it's just hard to know. Like you're right. You can get, he would be the one to get cheapest. Just go with the cheapest guy. LaShawn's going to be starting, I think, week 1. If Ronald Jones doesn't get his act doesn't get healed up. So
it's Thomas H.
I don't
said,
know.
Sorry, now he's bitter. Too many years of putting his hopes in Doug Martin. He was one of your guys, wasn't he?
Yes, the muscle hamster. Absolutely. I liked him. But yeah, he was off and on. It was tough.
Yeah.
I want to talk about. Okay, well, when we get to, have we already done? I don't remember. Have we
just
done
got the NFC West left, and then we're done.
Okay. So let's just keep going. Let's press through. We got. Okay, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be very interesting. We're now in the NFC West, and we've got it's like these teams focus on their running games, and still it's not very clear. So to start off with the Cardinals, I love Drake. I love Drake. I think he is one of the, I would put him in top 5 as far as skill goes.
Wow.
It's just that I have never seen him play a full year. And I just never seen him play a full year. What's that?
And he's in a walking boot right now.
And he's already in a walking boot. Doggone it. I have gone out and got Chase Edmonds anywhere I can.
Yeah.
He's good. Chase Edmonds, he's okay. He's not even half the skill of Kenyon Drake, but he is one of these guys that will just come in and find the hole and hit it hard. And this is the thing about, I'm not talking about Chase Edmonds as a player. I'm talking about the Cardinals are going to be a run heavy team. And I think somebody with, as what's their quarterback's name? The young guy,
Kyler?
Yeah, Kyler Murray opens up running lanes because he runs a lot. He's such a dual threat. I saw last year, and here's the other thing is that the Cardinals are very creative when it comes to their run scheme.
Yeah.
I watched a video, one of my favorite, somebody who goes over tape is Gold. What's his name? I can't remember. Something Gold. I can't remember, but I'll
Samuel Gold
somewhere. Sam Gold. Yeah. Samuel Gold. He looked for Samuel Gold tape, and he did a really interesting piece on Kenyon Drake and how the Dolphins criminally underused him and just had the simplest, dumbest, no creativity at all when it came to running. Would just run him the same side every time, and just predictable. Whereas when he went to the Cardinals, they used him so creatively and in space, that you saw how much it helped. Now, injury and vision is a problem for Drake. I think Edmonds has better vision, finding a hole, hitting it hard. He just doesn't have the same elusiveness.
Interesting. Also, really quick, I just noticed we had missed a question from Thomas H earlier. Okay. He said he said evaluate the trade proposal. He's been offered Noah Fant and a banged up Darrell Henderson for Hunter Henry and Marlon Mack.
I saw that earlier. Can we just wait to the end to do that?
Yeah, we'll hang on to that.
We're almost done, right?
All right. Yeah. We got 3 teams to go.
Okay, so I would say, do you know anything about Eno Benjamin?
Nope.
I don't either. I am picking up Chase Edmonds everywhere. I think
he played at Arizona State, and now that's all I know about him.
Oh, so he has some Arizona connection. I would just say pick up Edmonds, hold on to Edmonds, get Edmonds. If you can't, John Kelly might be interesting. Is that the same John Kelly that was John Kelly? Where'd John Kelly come from?
I
John
have
Kelly was
no
still
idea.
he wasn't he's
He
he's
played
still
college
with
football
the
at
Rams.
Tennessee. Come on, man.
No, but he's still with the Rams. I don't know why they have John Kelly on here. John
He's
Kelly's
still
still
with
with the
them, I
Rams.
think.
So that's weird. Maybe we should have used a different list.
No, I think he's still there, isn't he?
He's with the Rams. Oh, yeah. I was looking at. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Let's go with the Rams. So this is interesting. This is really interesting to me. They got Malcolm Brown as number one. I love Darrell Henderson.
Really?
I love him this year. I am not a fan of Cam Akers. I don't think John Kelly is anything. I think Malcolm Brown could be. You can get Malcolm Brown off your waiver wire, and he is going to be the starter. I think week one. Henderson's dealing with a little bit of injury situation, but again, everybody is. I think Darrell Henderson could be a league winner.
Really?
He ran almost as well as Gurley last year. He didn't get very many he barely got any runs in. But see, to me, I do not believe that NFL coaches say, well, we didn't use him very much last year. We're not going to use him very much this year. You know? Like, no, sometimes they have a different plan going into the year. Obviously, they have a different plan this year. They got rid of Gurley, you know? And I don't think the plan is to put all their hopes in Malcolm Brown. I'm sorry, but he's just a dude.
Okay.
And he has, I just saw some flashes from coming into the league. Darrell Henderson was seen as comparable to Josh Jacobs as far as skill goes. And I didn't see anything last year to detract from that other than he didn't get played very much. So Darrell Henderson and Damian Harris are two guys that I think you can get off. Actually, Henderson you can't get off the waiver wire, but you got to get him in like the 10th, 11th round. But those are two guys that start DHs, two DHs that could win your league. Mark my words.
All right.
I gave blood yesterday, by the way.
What? Oh, nice.
I gave blood yesterday.
Even though you hate the sight of blood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They contacted me and were like, because last time I tried to give it, I was so squeamish, I jerked and messed up the whole thing. And I've been so frustrated with that I, that I was like, I got to rectify it. And I went in yesterday and guess what? Got her dad. I feel so much better about it. And I'll let people, I'll have at least a data point as far as whether I still have the coronavirus antibodies. They're going to let me know. So, but back to running backs. What are your thoughts? Do you like Cam Akers? You know a little bit more about him than I do.
Honestly, Cam Akers is the one rookie running back I need to do more research on. I don't know. He was stuck on a Florida State team that really didn't have that much. They were just a mess. I've heard really good things about him. I honestly don't know. I know a lot of people are predicting he's going to break out just like Taylor and Swift. Honestly, I haven't really touched the Rams line up anywhere. Being completely
You haven't touched the what?
Rams running back lineup anywhere as of yet.
I'm getting a lot of Henderson. I'm looking at Canada because he just goes, like you said, you just got to pay a price for somebody. It's just not a lot of information on, Can we gotta wrap this up, so let's keep going.
And yes, Thomas H, I did just mention Taylor Swift. Judah Buddha came up with that, but yeah.
Yeah, the Taylor Swift. action. That's how I remembered their names when when it came to. Oh, you know me, I'm not very good at remembering names, anyways. So here's another team that, Mostert, Coleman, McKinnon, those three in particular. I don't know what to do with. It looks like McKinnon may be the one that the coaches are hoping to be the number one, but right now they got Mostert, got Coleman. Coleman, oh man, he's got the physical ability, just terrible vision. Loves running into his offensive line, just loves it. Yeah. McKinnon, skill out the nose, doesn't have a lot of physical dominance. He's a small guy, diminutive dude, but just skill. He's just a hard runner, fast as all get, a pass catcher. Used to be a wide receiver. Used to be a quarterback, right?
I don't know, actually.
And
yeah, he was. He was recruited as a quarterback. Yep.
Such a dynamic player. Yep. Who knows? Mostert is the one who came out last year and did well. More. And they gave so I don't know. I have to switch over. Sorry. You still there?
Yep, I'm good.
Oh no, I got to figure out what happened here.
Uh-oh. You good over there? Well, I don't think he can hear me. So until that moment comes.
Hello. Yeah, back.
There we go. All right.
So what do you think, man? Are you going out and getting any Jerick McKinnon? He is on the waiver wire.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that I'm thinking about getting round 15, like a LaShawn McCoy type guy. The 49ers backfield has been so inconsistent in how they want to run things. You'll have 2 games where Tevin Coleman gets 120 yards and 5 touchdowns, and he'll go silent. Mostert had a great end to the year, had a good Super Bowl, and got paid more. Braid is not there anymore to take carries from him. But Jerick McKinnon could slot into that role after 2 years of dealing with a leg injury. Yeah. So, I mean, Mostert, if you need a running back, I mean, there aren't many other guys to take once you get to where Mostert is. If you have been drafting heavy wide receiver and stuff, you kind of need to take him, but
I think
it worry me.
Yeah, I really think you could roll a dice, flip a coin between Jerick McKinnon. Now McKinnon is another guy. I don't mind talking about. You know me, I do not factor in injury very much when I'm drafting. Yeah. But when I'm looking at the waiver wire, I'm factoring it in. That's almost my number one. That's my number one factor. I'm thinking, okay, Mostert, solid. He is reliable. Coleman, injury prone. McKinnon, injury prone. I think 2 years in a row he was out the whole. He may be already injured.
I think it was just one extended injury. I think he had complications with it. I think it was.
Okay.
That kept him out last year.
All right. Do you have anything else to say about these guys? I do think that go out if you have problems, if you're in a deep league and you have weak stable of running backs, go out and get Jerick McKinnon. I think he is on the waiver wire right now, probably in 80% of your leagues, in the leagues. And I think he would be somebody to put on your bench, see what happens. I think he could be, the offense that they run there could be. They love going to their scat back, pass catching running backs. They play a lot of different, what do you call deceptive offense type stuff, trickery type stuff, and that includes their tight end and running backs. So,
yep.
If
By
he
the way,
starts,
Thomas H., we have not discussed your trade proposal yet. We're going to finish with that.
Okay, yeah. So we're almost there.
We'll get to it.
This one, we just earlier in the podcast we drafted Carlos Hyde in our primer to, about drafting. I think We talked a little bit already about this, so we don't have to talk too much about it. Chris Carson's going to be the guy. He's going to start week 1. He is a guy to have because he is, when it comes to skill, he is elusive, hard runner, and going to get used a lot in this run first offense or what have you. Hyde is somebody to get though, because Chris Carson, as hard as he runs, he gets hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And Penny is already on the PUP list, as you can see right here. That means he's not going to play the first 6 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
Put him on. I've been going around putting him on. I don't know if you saw in some of our leagues that we're on together. I put him on my IR.
Oh, really?
I think he could be an interesting play. He's a good player, and come week 6, he's coming off that PUP. He's going to be healthy week 7, 8.
Okay.
I don't know. Worth putting on. I'm probably going to drop him eventually, but just in case, somebody put it on. And now DJ Dallas. I don't know about you, but I think DJ Dallas is another guy. Get that name. If nothing else, get that name. DJ Dallas. Come on. He's got a very memorable name, DJ Dallas. I think he could be a league winner. Chris Carson goes down. Hyde's not going to be your answer there. He's just not. DJ Dallas is going to outshine Hyde. And now he's not somebody that you can depend on in the first half of the year. I'm pretty sure within, you're not going to be able to use him at all probably in the first 4 weeks. But call it a notion. Call it a notion. DJ Dallas is going to be the starter for the Seattle Supersonics now. The Seattle Seahawks come week 6.
Okay.
You have anything to add?
Kind of as a backup. He's inconsistent in terms of statistics, but I mean, he's a decent backup. I don't know enough about DJ. I need to do some more research on him.
Well, I think we all do. I think this segment is just really to get to know names, because so many people go into drafts not knowing who DJ Dallas is. And I'm just saying, you need to know who DJ Dallas is. If you're going to be drafting and you see that name and you're like, who the heck is this guy? It's just somebody to know. Okay. Let's get back to that question, and then we're going to sign out.
I gotta go. We had 2.
Okay.
So we can do 7/10 first, because I think he's been waiting like the whole episode for us to go over it. So he wants to trade for Chubb in our league.
Oh, yeah.
Any potential trade scenarios? Eckler's his only high dollar guy. He's also
I'd trade Eckler for Chubb.
Really? Just straight up?
If somebody would do that, I'd rather have Chubb than Eckler. And I think people would rather have Eckler. I think you'd rather have Eckler than Chubb, right? Or, well, I know Jared would.
Interesting. Maybe. He's trading for Chubb, so he's got to have to convince whoever owns him.
Well, I would say this. If you want to trade for Chubb, going on the podcast where this is the podcast league is probably not the best idea, because now people know you want him, so they're going to give you a hard time getting him. But maybe
I'm looking at the guy who you're trying to trade with too. You're looking at Ben Fader. He's a little weak at wide receiver.
Yeah.
What do you have? Landry and Fuller.
Who has Eckler? Is it Thomas H?
No, that's 7/10. That's what he's saying. He's got Eckler.
Oh, he's got Eckler.
Trying to trade for Chubb, yeah.
Ben is a shrewd trader. I would offer him. Who does 7/10 have as far as a wide receiver?
Oh, he's got a lot. Beckham, Cooper, Allen, Green, Lamb, Diggs.
I would trade. You know what? Trade. See if you can do. It'd be an interesting trade. What do you think of trading OBJ? I wouldn't have OBJ and Chubb on the same team. Would you? Because I mean, as far as game theory goes, like if you think that they're going to be a high, like doing a lot of high passing team, it doesn't seem like Chubb factors into that very well. And if they're going to be a run first, going with a lot of running, I don't know. This is a new coach too, so you're not going to have a lot of plays per game.
Thomas H said he'd go Eckler for Chubb too. I don't know.
Well, that means I think he likes Eckler more. What?
So Eckler for Chubb, Odell for Chubb. What are you thinking?
Yeah, piece together some real good wide receivers like Diggs and give a couple ponies for a thoroughbred horse like Chubb. It's interesting. I'd like to have Jared's input because Jared does not like Chubb. Yeah. So, I mean, man, Ben should come on and say what he would take. Ben does need some wide receivers. Does need a quality wide receiver. I think you could do the OBJ for Chubb. Would you give up OBJ for Chubb? I mean, maybe Ben wouldn't do that because you can get OBJ in the third round. He probably paid a lot less. He would have paid a lot less for OBJ.
Yeah, he said we can save it for next episode. It might help if Ben's here too. Yeah, that's an interesting one though.
I bet you know what I would do? I would take Diggs and OBJ for Chubb, but that's a lot to pay.
Yeah, that might be a little much because I'm high on Diggs, so that might be too much to give up.
I am too, but I would still give him up. I love Chubb.
Yeah.
I love Chubb. Yeah. Okay, so what's the other one? And then I got to go.
All right, Thomas H. asked, where was it? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Noah Fant and a banged-up Darrell Henderson for Hunter Henry and Marlon Mack.
I would keep Noah Fant and Henderson. I'm not interested in Henry I love Marlon Mack, but I love him because you can get him for free. Cheap, lower in the draft. I think I'd rather have Henderson than Mack. I'd rather have Noah than Hunter. I don't see. Oh, Ben's on.
Hey,
Ben. So Ben has Chubb, right?
Yes. So perfect timing. Ben, 7-10. We're trying to figure out a trade for Nick Chubb.
He really wants 7-10 wants Nick Chubb. What would you? It looks like you need running. It looks like you need wide receiver. What's your threshold? Would you take OBJ? Would you rather have OBJ than Chubb?
Discuss.
But we're talking right now about what was that about? Oh, sorry.
No, you good.
Darrell Henderson. So what about you? What do you think? You're a little bit less of a Henderson guy.
I'm just less of a Rams offensive guy. Oh, wait a minute. You've got Marlon Mack, don't you?
Me?
Wait, do you? I'm trying to figure out which league this is that he's got him in. I don't know.
Yeah, this is.
So it must not be our listener league then.
No, I don't think it's our listener league.
Interesting. I don't know. That's a curious one. Fant and Darrell Henry. See, Hunter Henry worries me because it just says Evan Ingram 2.0. He's a better version of Evan Ingram, but still with the injuries. And I mean, Marlon Mack is Marlon Mack's an interesting. He's a good value. Henderson worries me just because of the fact that Brown and Akers are there, and Naeem's kind of got a designated role in the Colts offense. If you like Fant that much, I would go for it. But otherwise, if this guy wants Marlon Mack, that means he wants him for a reason. I would counter for more than just Darrell Henderson, probably.
I don't know. If you have I don't understand. I've been offered. Oh, Noah Fant and Henderson? Yeah, I'd do it right away. I love Noah Fant. To me, it could be top 10 tight end. Henry, he's going to be on a terrible offense.
But he could be the one bright spot in the offense.
He could be. Yeah. It's kind of a wash, isn't it? I mean, this is kind of a wash of a deal.
Kinda. It's like Mack has a more I'd rather take it's like Mack and Henderson. Mack has a better established role. Hunter versus Fant. Hunter's injury prone. but Fant is in his second year. I don't know what to feel about that. If the guy is asking for Henry and Mac, I might ask for a little more, maybe.
This is what I would say. This Thomas H., are you stronger in the second half of the year or the first half of the year? Are you looking at your starters? Because if you're weaker, especially when it comes to running backs, Mac is very shaky for the second half of the year. You've got you can't deny the skill of Jonathan Taylor coming in and stealing. You're gonna put it right on me, huh? Mac is in danger of losing his job. Straight up. I'm a big Mac proponent, and I will concede that he is gonna lose. He's probably gonna lose his job by at least week 8. Darrell Henderson could start off right away. He's a little banged up, but I think by the end of the year, by week 8, he's going to be the man. So, but then he's also contending with Akers. So I don't know. I just love Darrell Henderson. I like Noah Fant. I'm a big Mac fan, but I'm only looking at Mac for the first half of the year. So how do we go back to
there we go.
Yeah. So I don't know. I gotta go.
Yeah. Thomas H said it seems like a toss up to him too. If you like Henry, then if you like Henry more than Fant, if you like Fant, I'd go with it.
Yeah, this is kind of, I agree. So this is what I kind of thought. Ben's not going to get rid of. It's not even an issue. He's not going to get rid of Chubb. He loves Chubb. So.
Yeah, he's with you on that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I got to go.
Okay.
Do you have anything you want to finish with?
Not much. We've got what's the day? The 29th. Does that put us like 11 days till football starts? Something like that.
Yeah. I got to go. I got a meeting, but thank you everybody for showing up and being a part of our discussion. Hope that helps.
710 Ben, Thomas H. Thanks for showing up, guys.
Yeah. Good doing business with you.